But do they make a Diana Ross costume in Kim's size?
She's a diva on that.
She's a diva.
They were little girls. And who's gonna be the queen bee? Who's funnier? Who's thinner?
Why did the hit show Moesha suddenly disappear from TV? What happened in the final season that made fans so shocked and upset?
Off was because we were 15 years old, and these adults were coming in on an argument that, would have blown.
Moesha was a love show, but its ending left many questions. Why was the story left unfinished? Let's explore the scene that caused all the drama and ended this popular show for good.
Daddy, one person's mutilation is another person's art. You didn't know.
Moesha is a popular American TV show that aired from 1996 to 2001. The show was about a young girl named Moesha Mitchell, played by Brandy Norwood. Moesha lived in Los Angeles with her father, Frank, and her brother, Miles. She was a high school student who faced the ups and downs of teenage life, like friendships, love, and family problems. The show is special because it gave viewers a chance to see life through the eyes of an African-American family. It also dealt with real-life issues like growing up, changing relationships, and family struggles. Moesha's dad was strict, and her best friend was always there to support her. The show made people laugh, but it also taught important lessons about life. Moesha was known for its catchy theme song, "You're Watching Moesha," sung by Brandy.
Was Brandy upset when you had to cut out?
Oh, no, she was happy for me.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
She's real happy? But didn't you get better ratings last year on UPN than she did?
Don't do that.
Many people loved the characters, but behind the scenes, things weren't always smooth. Two of the main stars, Brandy Norwood, who played Moesha, and Countess Vaughn, who played Kim Parker, had a well-known feud. Their tension reportedly started early, with disagreements about their roles and the attention they received on set.
But do they make a Diana Ross costume in Kim's size?
Countess Vaughn's character, Kim, was funny, bubbly, and became a fan favorite. In fact, her role was so popular that she got her own spin-off show, The Parkers. This may have added to the competition between her and Brandy. People often wondered who was funnier, prettier, or the bigger star. Both were young and talented, but it seems their rivalry got in the way of their friendship. Brandy once talked about the feud in a 1998 interview. She said Countess was jealous and had called her names. Countess didn't deny they clashed. Fans even heard stories about arguments that got so heated, glasses and drinks were thrown during a public fight. Many people believed Vaughn's rising popularity might have caused tension since her character connected deeply with audiences. As time went on, the media picked up on the drama. Tabloids started writing about their fights, making it worse. The media made their arguments seem bigger than they were.
She's a diva on that.
She's a diva.
They were little girls. And who's gonna be the queen bee? Who's funnier? Who's thinner?
Marcus Paulk, who played Miles on the hit show, recently spoke about the tension between them. According to Marcus, the issues weren't shocking. It was just growing pains. He explained that working on Moesha was a great experience, especially for a kid like him. "I grew up around real people," he said. "The cast spent a lot of time together, almost like a family. But just like in any family, people didn't always get along."
Who's prettier?
They would be at one another. By the time I got to the set, they were hugging one another.
Brandy and Countess were young women figuring out their lives while working on a big TV show. That kind of pressure can make anyone stressed, Marcus shared. "It's like putting people in the real world. You're going to see arguments sometimes," he said. The disagreements between Brandy and Countess weren't constant, but they did happen. Marcus also said that age and experience played a big part. At the time, they were young and still learning about life. If they were as mature as they are now, those things probably wouldn't have happened, he explained. Now that they've grown up, he believes they've moved past their differences. When the cast reunited recently, it seemed like any old issues were left in the past. Marcus said everyone was cool now, and that it felt good to come together again.
Off was because we were 15 years old, and these adults were coming in on an argument that, would have blown.
Years later, Brandy and Countess Vaughn surprised fans by making up in an emotional moment. On Grammy night, Brandy skipped the big awards ceremony to visit Countess on the set of The Parkers. She brought flowers, a plaque, and a letter from Cheryl Lee Ralph, one of their Moesha co-stars, thanking Vaughn for her work on the show. Their reunion was a touching moment, showing that time can heal even the biggest fights. Cheryl Lee Ralph played Dee Mitchell on the show. Dee was the strict but loving stepmother of Moesha and Miles, married to Frank Mitchell. When Cheryl first joined the show, she was excited to work with such a talented cast. She was especially happy to work with Brandy, the star of the show, who she thought was amazing. However, over time, things behind the scenes became difficult, and Cheryl eventually decided to leave after 5 seasons.
To me.
I'm concerned that you're using this party to make yourself feel better about something.
One of the main reasons Cheryl left was because of the toxic atmosphere on set. She had to deal with a lot of disrespect from the younger cast members. Cheryl writes in her memoir that working with teens was hard. Kids can sometimes be rude, and they would say things that hurt her feelings. She felt like she couldn't speak up because she was the adult on set. It was frustrating, and she just wanted to do her job and go home to her family. Things got even worse when the younger actors would stay in their dressing rooms and party, causing delays in filming. Cheryl, who had a family to take care of, had to stay late at work while her family waited for her at home. She tried to speak up and remind everyone that others had families too, but her co-stars didn't seem to care. It felt like she was the bad guy for trying to keep things on schedule. There were also issues with how the show was being run. Cheryl felt like the producers always tried to keep Brandy, the main star, happy. She wrote that Brandy got whatever she wanted and everyone else's feelings didn't matter. This became clear when Brandy didn't like Cheryl's braids. Cheryl had braided her hair over the summer, but when filming started again, Brandy allegedly complained. The producers asked Cheryl to remove her braids, and when Cheryl refused, they insisted. She felt this was unfair, as it took her back to a time when a producer asked her to change her natural hair. Eventually, Cheryl gave in when they promised to donate money to a charity she cared about. But by then, she felt like the show wasn't about the characters anymore. It was all about backstage drama. At the same time, things weren't going well at home. Cheryl's marriage was falling apart, and she felt overwhelmed by everything. In season 5 of Moesha, a big storyline revealed that Frank's nephew, Dorian, was actually his son from an affair.
Son?
This upset Cheryl because she felt it destroyed the family dynamic of the show. She didn't like how the storyline was heading, and it made her decide to leave. She writes in her memoir that when she's in a toxic environment, she leaves as quickly as she can. When she saw a magazine story about the drama on Moesha and her divorce, it pushed her to make the final decision to leave the show. It was a difficult period for her. She even told Oprah that she sank into depression and began to doubt herself.
But do they make a Diana Ross costume in Kim's size?
Also, when Moesha was revived on Netflix, many fans took another look at the show and noticed something they didn't like: the way the main character, Moesha, treated her friend Kim. Fans pointed out how Moesha would often make fun of Kim's weight. These moments were seen as hurtful and judgmental, especially since Kim wasn't even big. The fat-shaming jokes about Kim started in the first episode, and they continued throughout the show. For many fans, this left a bad taste in their mouths.
Oh. But you know what? If they do, let's pray it's spandex.
Some fans took to Twitter to share their thoughts. One tweeted, "The fat jokes aren't funny. Kim isn't even big. I'm counting the episodes till we start getting jokes. Moesha." Another fan wrote, "Watching Moesha in my 30s hits differently now. The fat shaming of Kim, aka Countess Vaughn, from the pilot onwards has me shook. I know it was the 90s, but damn, every episode is a fat joke? I really wonder what that does to a young actor's self-esteem week after week on set. It's clear that many people now see these jokes in a different light. It's not just about the jokes, it's about how they affect the people who are being mocked. Vaughn knows this feeling all too well because those jokes affected her. In an interview, she opened up about the harsh comments she faced, both on and off the set. When she was a kid on the show 227, she overheard adults saying mean things about her. She heard things like, "She's fat," "She's black," and "She's ugly." These comments stuck with her for a long time and affected how she saw herself.
It's 3
people in the room. Why do they call it couples therapy?
She also talked about how people would compare her to other cast members. Some would say things like, "You're a black girl and your behind should be bigger." This kind of talk hurt her deeply and made her feel even more insecure. As she grew older, Countess tried many ways to change her appearance and meet what she thought was the perfect look. She used different products and treatments to try to lose weight and look different. Eventually, she decided to have liposuction, a surgery to remove fat from her body. After the surgery, she was happy with the results and lost 3 dress sizes. Some fans even said that if a character like Nikki Parker from the Parkers had been around, Moesha wouldn't have gotten away with making fun of Kim. They believe Nikki would have stood up to Moesha and made sure she didn't say those hurtful things.
Would you come back here for a minute?
Baby, no, that's not gonna work again. I need to take a shower so we can eat.
The show Moesha ended abruptly after its 6th season, leaving fans with many unanswered questions. The show was loved by many, but its ending was not what fans expected. There were some big storylines left hanging, and people still wonder what happened to them. One of the biggest cliffhangers was a pregnancy test found in Moesha's dorm room. It wasn't clear whose test it was, and that left fans guessing. Another big moment was when Moesha's younger brother, Miles, was kidnapped by someone who was against Dorian, Moesha's stepbrother. There was also the question of whether Moesha would choose to live with her boyfriend Hakeem or her best friend Nisi. But sadly, none of these storylines were wrapped up. Why didn't we get answers? Well, by the time season 6 ended, the show's ratings started to drop. The network that aired Moesha, UPN, decided not to bring it back for a 7th season. This left fans frustrated as they had followed the show for 6 years and deserved some closure. Even Brandy, who played Moesha, has spoken out about how much she didn't like the way it ended. She said in an interview, "I hate the way Moesha ended. It was so wrong doing it that way because people took the journey in those 6 years and people were attached to those characters." There were rumors that some of the unanswered questions might be solved in the spin-off show, The Parkers. But sadly, the issues in Moesha weren't addressed there either. Fans were left hanging with no answers.
We're still talking about it. I'm so open for it. I want it so badly. And I think just the way the show ended, it ended on a cliffhanger. And I think, the people that have supported Moesha over the years, they want answers.
Now, after 19 years of ending, there are talks about bringing Moesha back. Fans have always wanted more, especially since the show never had a proper ending. Recently, Brandy said she's open to a reboot. She admitted in an interview that she has been talking to the right people to bring the show back. She said, "I'm completely open to it. I would love to experience that." Many fans are excited about this news because they want to know how the story will continue. But there are some challenges. 3 major characters from the show have passed away, which means the show would need to handle their memory with respect. Still, fans are hopeful that the reboot will be done in a way that honors them. The reboot could be a chance to finally address the unanswered questions, but it also comes with challenges. Some people are excited to see Moesha again, but others are worried that the issues the show had, like the unclear ending and some of the old storylines, might not work well in today's world. Still, Brandy is ready to give it a shot, and fans are waiting to see what happens. Maybe a reboot will give us the answers we've been waiting for. Also, the tragic deaths of several cast members from the show have left a deep and sad mark on the series. 3 actors in particular who were loved by fans passed away too soon. Yvette Wilson, Andel, Merlin Santana, Ohaji, and Lamont Bentley, Hakeem. These losses were especially painful because they all had so much more to give to the world. Let's start with Yvette Wilson, who played Andel Wilkerson on Moesha and its spin-off, The Parkers. Before she became famous, Yvette went to San Jose State University, where she studied communications. Her journey into comedy started in an unusual way. She lost a bet and had to perform as a stand-up comedian at a friend's club. Surprisingly, she loved it and decided to pursue a career in comedy.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you who your new friend was. He just waving, hey, yeah, man.
Her first big break came in 1993 with a short-lived sitcom called Thea. Although the show was canceled after 1 season, it helped Yvette land bigger roles. She appeared in movies like Friday and House Party 3, and even worked alongside famous stars like Janet Jackson in Poetic Justice. But Yvette's most important role came in 1995 when she was cast as Andel on Moesha. Andel was the warm, funny, and caring owner of a local hangout spot for teens. Her role became so popular that when Moesha ended, she continued playing Andell in The Parkers, a spin-off starring Monique. Sadly, in real life, Yvette faced serious health issues. She had kidney disease, which required a transplant and regular dialysis. Despite these challenges, she kept working and even started her own company. However, in 2012, Yvette passed away from cervical cancer, which had spread throughout her body. She was only 48 years old. Yvette's death was a huge loss to her family, friends, and fans. She left behind 2 daughters and 2 grandchildren. Sadly, she passed away without any public funeral services, and her remains were cremated.
Yeah, man, it's unfortunate to lose these brothers, to have lost these brothers young ages, man. They never had a chance to fully grow and blossom and become more, you know what I mean?
Merlin Santana was a talented actor who brought joy to many with his work on TV and in movies. Born in Washington Heights, New York City, to parents from the Dominican Republic, Santana's career started early. His parents wanted to keep him away from the dangers of the tough streets of New York, so they encouraged him to pursue acting. At just 3 years old, he began modeling for a fast food chain, and soon after, he made his first screen appearance as an extra in the movie, The Purple Rose of Cairo. His big break came in 1991 when he got a recurring role on The Cosby Show. He played Stanley, Rudy Huxtable's boyfriend, and quickly became a fan favorite. After that, Santana continued landing roles, appearing on shows like Sister, Sister, and Moesha, where he played the role of Ohagi. One of his most memorable roles was as Romeo Santana on The Steve Harvey Show in 1996. Santana also worked in movies such as Flossin' and played A Hip-Hop Story. He kept his career going through the years, but sadly, his life came to a tragic end in 2002. On November 9, 2002, Santana was shot and killed while sitting in a car in Los Angeles. He and his friend, actor Brandon Adams, had just left a friend's house when a 19-year-old named Damian Gates shot Santana through the back of the car. The bullet hit Santana in the head instantly. Santana was just 26 years old. His death shocked many, and his family, friends, and fans were devastated. He was buried in St. Raymond's Cemetery in the Bronx, New York. Santana left behind a daughter, Melinda. The man who killed him, Damian Gates, was arrested and convicted of first-degree murder. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole. A woman named Monique King, who was involved in the case, made false claims about Santana, saying he had made sexual advances toward her, which some believed led to the shooting. King was later found guilty of second-degree murder and was sent to juvenile custody.
He has 2 girls, and his focus is making sure their life is as amazing as it is to this day, you know what I mean? Brazil and Artesia, they doing wonderful.
Lamont Bentley was born on October 25, 1973, in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He was the son of Donald Gardison and Lois Bentley. Lamont grew up in the north side of Milwaukee and attended Webster Middle School. Later, he moved to Los Angeles with his mother, who wanted to become a professional singer. Lamont had big dreams from a young age. By the time he was 12 years old, he was already practicing how to sign autographs. He dropped out of high school to follow his passion for acting. To make ends meet, he worked odd jobs like at a movie theater, fish market, and grocery store while he waited for his chance to become an actor. He started his career with a Starburst commercial in 1986 and soon began appearing in television commercials and small roles in TV shows. His big break came in 1994 when he landed a role in the show South Central, which was praised by critics but didn't last long. The following year, he made his first movie appearance in Tales from the Hood, a horror film that highlighted the dangerous inner-city life. In the film, he played a tough character named Crazy K. In 1995, Lamont was cast as Hakeem Campbell, the funny and always hungry friend of the main character Moesha, on the popular TV show Moesha. The show ran for 6 years and became a big part of his career. After Moesha ended, Lamont continued acting and also tried his hand at music. He became part of a rap group called Rise with 2 other musicians, Marche Meeks and Tyson Pearson. In 2001, Lamont appeared in the movie The Wash alongside famous rappers Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg. That same year, he played the role of Tupac Shakur in the TV movie Too Legit, the MC Hammer story. One of his last roles was in Sucker Free City, a crime drama directed by Spike Lee. Sadly, Lamont's life was cut short. On January 19, 2005, he was involved in a car accident in Ventura County, California, while driving alone. Witnesses said that Lamont was driving fast when he lost control of the car and crashed. His car went off the road, rolled down an embankment, and he was thrown out into traffic where 5 cars hit him. Lamont was seriously injured and passed away at the scene. Lamont was only 31 years old. His family, including his 2 daughters and his mother, were devastated by the loss. A memorial service was held for him at Forest Lawn Memorial in Hollywood Hills, where he was laid to rest.
All that mattered to him was to continue doing what he had already been doing, which is acting, of course, but now his children were coming up in the acting world, so just to make sure their life is straight.
Moesha has left a big mark on TV history. It's remembered as one of the best sitcoms from the 90s. The show aired on many networks over the years, including UPN, Fox, the WB, and more. It even aired on WGN America, BET, and other channels until 2021. Some channels edited the show to make it more family-friendly or to fit into the broadcast schedule. In the UK, Moesha was shown on Channel 4 and Nickelodeon, but only the first few seasons were aired. It was also shown in other countries like Spain, Italy, and Brazil. In Spain, it aired on Disney Channel with some scenes removed to make it suitable for kids. Today, Moesha can be streamed on Netflix. The show's legacy continues, loved by fans everywhere.